Thanks for coming on, Andy speaking. Friday 25th of October, just coming up 8 o'clock. Apologies, very busy day aside from this, so that's why I'm late, so apologies for that. Hopefully it's worthwhile. Right, we'll start with Scotland, and the results in some of the midweek football was like I've never seen the like before. Doncaster Rovers losing at home to Bromley. Wow. Title favourites against relegation favourites. Relegation favourites win. Incredible results midweek in England. Right, let's go on with Scotland. Dundee St Johnstone 55-27-18. 6th plays 9th. Just bear in mind, if you're going in and taking that, Dundee have only won once at home. That was to Hearts when Hearts were absolutely bang out of form. St Johnstone aren't the worst team in this division. They won at Kilmarnock, albeit Kilmarnock were down to 10 men from early on. And 5 of their 6 defeats have been against the top 5. So they've won away at Kilmarnock. They've beaten Ross St Johnstone. I don't think they're as bad as the bookmakers have them down. I'm not saying they're going to win this match. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I just think that is extremely skinny. They should win Dundee, but it's certainly not one for me. Ross, just the one win this season against Dundee. At home, they've only lost 2, though, to Celtic and Aberdeen, who I've got to say, obviously we had no interest in the game, but Aberdeen came back from 2 down at Celtic. You have to say that's impressive. No two ways about it. They are looking the second best side. I don't think they. Someone said to me, "Do I think they'll?" No, I don't think they'll win it. But I'll tell you, to come back from 2 down at Celtic was impressive. We'll come to that in a second. Kilmarnock favourites for this. I mean, beat Rangers last week, won away at Dundee the week before. Only losses on the road have been against Celtic and Aberdeen, the top 2. I when I priced them up at 7-5, I was hoping we might be able to get something on Kilmarnock, but sadly not. I was hoping we might get sort of, I don't know, 6-4 or something like that. Sorry, a bit bigger than 6, but not. Bookmakers are onto it, 13-10. Aberdeen Dundee United 66-22-12. I've revamped my rating on Aberdeen. Had to after last week. I think you go 2 down at Celtic and then turn it round and get a draw. That is mightily impressive. And I've had to adjust my rating. They're 4 from 4 at home. They're 3 from 4 on the road. The only game they haven't won was away at Celtic. They're at home to Dundee United tomorrow. There's 0.2 in them. Dundee United are unbeaten on the road, but they've only played the bottom 7. They've not played a top 6 club on the road. Their best win was against 8th place St Mirren. Aberdeen look good things. And as I say, there's a bit in them because we have adjusted the rating. Hibernian Hearts 42-26-32. I was really wanting to be with Hearts tomorrow. I just couldn't rate them any higher than this, sadly. But Hearts, well, it's not tomorrow, it's Sunday, but Hearts was the team I did want to be with. Hibs' only win this season was at home to St Johnstone. Hearts have turned it round a bit since Naismith was sacked. They drew with Ross. They beat St Mirren 4-0 last week, and they only went down by the odd goal. They only went down by the odd goal the previous week away at Aberdeen. They only lost that game 3-2, and they were 2-1 up in that game. So just bear that in mind. I think they'll win. I just can't give them out with only 0.1 in them, but No, I mean, I never rate this lot. You know what my feelings are with them. If Hearts have really turned a corner, then I think they'll win tomorrow. I think 21 to 10 is a huge price. Motherwell Celtic, you don't need me to tell you anything about this. Motherwell going along nicely. You'd only lost to Aberdeen and Rangers. We end up betting them. They lose at home to Dundee. It just doesn't make sense. They won't get anything tomorrow. And finally, Rangers at home to St Mirren. As ever, 3s on is the most we can do. Their 4s on. Rangers have won every game at home. The only team to score here, incidentally, has been Motherwell. St Mirren, 2 wins, both against the bottom 2 on the road. They've only got 1 point in 4 visits, 1 point in 4 road trips. That was at Dundee. There's only going to be 1 winner here. You don't need me to tell you that. Is there a bet for us here? Well, I mean, you've got 0.2 at 66%. I think that's outstanding value for the rating. And I'm backing that. I'm not saying you've got to back that, and I'm not putting that on the account. But it's basically, I look at the 2 squads, and one of them is a top 3 or 4 club. The other one's a bottom 4 club. And as I say, they only went down by the odd goal at the Dons. So I just think that Hearts might be on the road back. And as I say, they flogged St Mirren last week as well. Right, Championship. Airdrie against Ayr, 25-25-50. Definite class barrier with Airdrie. Against the top 6 home and away, they've played 6, lost 6. Against the bottom 4, they've won 1, drawn 2. Ayr are 3rd. We were against Ayr last week, if you remember. I did say we backed Livingston at Ayr. And Livingston did win. Ayr have also lost at Falkirk. Ayr's best win, incidentally, has been against 6th place Moreton, and they're 3rd in the table. I said many times they're in a false position. They shouldn't be odds on for this tomorrow. I don't see them losing the game. I wouldn't want to take for odds on to find out if they're going to win it or not. No, they should win, but as I say, I'm not a huge fan of them. I'm afraid. As I said, and I will keep saying, I think Livingston are the best side in this division, and I think that will be proven over the course of the season. Unbeaten still, Livy. Falkirk Dunfermline 58-22-20. Very hard to get away from Falkirk. 4-9, I think, is very short. Won 3 from 4 here at home. The only time they haven't won was against Livingston. Dunfermline on the road, played 4, lost 3, drawn 1. The draw was at bottom place Airdrie. Other than that, they've lost them all and haven't scored a goal. You can only see 1 winner here. And yeah, Falkirk will win. But as I say, there's nothing in it. Hamilton Morton 42-25-33. I think Hamilton can probably just win this. There's nothing in them, but again, against the top 4, they've played 5 matches, lost them all. Against 5th and below, they've won 2, drawn 3, which sort of indicates they're better than the bottom cluster, but they're not quite good enough to be in the shake-up up the top of the end of the table. So Morton are 6th. As ever, very unpredictable side. Just 2 wins this season against 8th place Wraith and 10th placed Airdrie. I don't think they've not won on the road. They've only scored 1 goal on the road in 5 starts. Hamilton, I think, will win, but there's nothing in it. Livingston against Wraith 55-24-21. You know what I've been saying about Livingston all season, and what I do like about Livingston, they're 2nd, 4 points behind Falkirk with a game in hand, and they've played all of the top 5 on the road. Got all the top 5 to play at home. Bodes well for them. I think they should be favourites. I think bookmakers. We're on Livingston and Falkirk, so I'm really confident we will have the winner of the championship this year. But as I say, I think Livingston are the best side. And from memory, didn't we have our biggest bet on Livingston? I can't remember. Wraith, they are anti-post favourites. I said many times they should never have been anti-post favourites. 4 games on the road, lost them all, haven't scored. They should have beat Queen's Park last week at home. They didn't. It ended up being a draw. I don't see them getting anything from this trip to Livy. Queen's Park Partick 40, 24, 36. There's 0.14 in Queen's Park. Hard to know what to make of them, really. Got a 3-0 doing at Partick earlier in the season. Unbeaten at home. Held Livingston and Ayr here. Beaten Morton and Hamilton, both 1-0. Don't score enough for me to warrant interest. That's just the thing I'd say. Partick on the road, lost 3, drawn 1. That was at Ayr. So you would favour Queen's Park, but it's just the fact that all the wins have been by the odd goal, and they're what I call sort of huff and puffing wins. But they have got a reason to be bang up for this tomorrow. As I say, they got a 3-0 doing at Thistle last month or the month before. Best bet in the Championship. Hard, isn't it? Hard. I wouldn't. Do you know what? I really wouldn't know where to look. If it was guns to the head, it would be that. But 0.03 at 55%. It's not a lot, is it? Let's move on. Right, if you think the value was bad in the Championship, I think it's just as bad in League One. Straight away you can see there's 3 teams of value in 0.1, 0.05, 0.12. Would I back Alloa at home to Arbroath with 0.1 in at 50%? No, I wouldn't, and quite simply the reason why. Alloa at home, 1-2, drawn 2, lost 1. That's 2 from 5. They've won 2 from 5. It isn't something which what would I say? I'd be quite happy to bet it, just blindly. But when you look into it, as I say, I don't like the form too much at all. And I mean, someone was asking me again about this division the other week, and like I said, one of the teams that we're on, I still think is probably going to turn out to be one of the best in there, and that's either Cove or Queen of the South. But Cove, they had a bad opening spell, but they've won 4 of the last 6. And if you look at, there's only 10 teams in this division. Okay, Inverness are out of it now. They've got a points deduction, haven't they? But Alloa's top with 17. Dumbarton and 9th on 9th. So there's 8 points between 1st and 9th. And there's only 3 points covering the top 6. So it is anybody's, because somebody was asking me about Kelty, who I don't think Kelty cannot win this division, surely not, but we will see. But anyway, back to this game. If I had to bet, it would be Alloa, but as I say, 2 wins from 5 at home do not inspire. And the 2 defeats that Arbroath have had on the road have both just been by the odd goal. I remain unconvinced. Montrose against Cove, 44, 26, 30. Unbeaten at Links Park, Montrose, but this is a real stiff test tomorrow. I mean, to be fair to Montrose, they've not played any of the bottom 4 at home. They've had Alloa, Kelty, Stenhousemuir, Queen of the South at home. That's the top 6, and they've come through them and beaten. Cove, I'm not so sure. I really fancy Cove at the start of the season, as I said, but for some reason they've been sort of up and down. But just recently, just think they might have turned a corner. There's nothing in Cove, and I couldn't take that. It's a poor coupon in Scotland this week. It really is. League One, Stenhousemuir, Kelty. And the reason I have to say League One is because for some reason Stenny, for me, it's League 2 and Kelty as well. They've lost 3 Stenhousemuir this season, all against the top 3. Alla have done the double over, and Montrose they lost away at, and they lost away at Kelty. So they've got something to fight for tomorrow. The top 3 aside, they've won 3 here, drawn 1. They've beaten Cove, Arbroath, Annan, drew with Queen of the South. I think that's decent enough home form, if I'm honest. Kelty's best win was at home to Stenhousemuir, but they have only lost once on the road against Alloa. So I think it's, when I went through, I thought it was a real close call. And if you look at the ratings in relation to the prices, it does look to be bang on, doesn't it? So from my point of view, I just think give the game a miss. And the same with this one, Annan, Queen of the South. I mean, I can't understand how Annan turned over Montrose the other week. I really can't. The one thing you will say with Annan, I thought they'd go down, but there is, mitigation. They've had a tough road trip. They've played the top 2 at home as well. They've got 3rd to 8th to play at home, so it does get slightly easier for them. Queen of the South on the road, drawn 2, lost 3. Not sure what to make of Queen of the South at the moment. I've never ever trusted them as a team, but they've done us proud this season, a couple of games, but I don't know what to make now. Dumbarton Inverness 40, 24, 36, 9th place, 10th. I don't know what to make of this. Dumbarton have won 1 game all season. That was at Arbroath last week. Inverness, they've only lost twice away at Arbroath and Annan, but obviously they're bottom with this points deduction. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, are they going to fight, or are they just going to down tools? I just think we're going to just have to wait and see. I think betting them at the moment would be madness. Is there a best bet in this division? If I had to have one bet, it would be the top one, because it's an over. It's 50% and over with value in. But my own personal feeling is I don't fancy it. But don't let me put you off. Right, on to Scottish League 2. Right, Clyde Bonnyrigg 50-25-25. Now, Clyde at home, just 1 defeat against Stirling, beat Stranraer, drew with Elgin Spartans Edinburgh. So we've got a 1-3-1 home record. Doesn't impress me in the slightest. They're bottom of the table. But let's be honest, we all do know they're better than that. Now, Bonnyrigg, 5 games on the road, 1-1 drawn, 1 lost, 3. Now, in those 5 games, they have shipped 11 goals. Clyde have to find the net at least twice tomorrow, surely. Now, if Clyde can find the net twice tomorrow, they'll win the game. It really is that simple. It's whether you trust them. 0.05 at 50%. It would be a bet in usual circumstances. It's the only game in this division where, as you can see, there's got any value in. It is an absolute horrendous coupon in Scotland. East 5 Stirling, top of the table. East 5, 5 from 5 at home. They've only shipped 2 in those 5 games, and they've scored 16. I can't see anything here. You know, the one crumb of hope you can offer Stirling is their 3-0-1 on the road. They've only lost 1 game on the road, and they've won 3. But all of their wins they've given against teams 6th or below. East 5 for top of the league. It's just a shame. It's just too skinny. It really is. It's just so frustrating this week. Edinburgh 4 File 30-26-44. Wouldn't want to trust either of these two. I mean, how do you trust a team that's got a 1-1-3 home record and a team that's got a 1-0-4 away record? Where do you look for a bet? I wouldn't. It's that simple. Elgin Stranraer 2-2-0 at home. it's quite funny because they've beaten East Fife and Bonnyrigg here, but drawn with Spartans and drew with Edinburgh. Really strange. And away from home, Elgin have won at 3rd, 4th and 6th place, but drawn 8th, 9th and 10th. Elgin seem to be able to beat the big clubs, but can't beat the bottom lot. It's incredible. Against the top half, they've got a 4-0-0 record. Against the bottom half, they've got a 1-5-0 record. Very, very strange how they can beat the top clubs and only draw against the basement boys. It's got to be in the way they play. Do I think they'll win tomorrow? They ought to win tomorrow. Stranraer on the road, won 1 game, lost 4. That was at Edinburgh, who are probably the worst team in the division. There's 4 teams which look like they're pulling away a bit at the top. East Fife, Elgin, Peterhead, Stirling. There's only 4 points cover them, and then you've got 5 points cover 5th from 10th. I still maintain Bonnyrigg and Edinburgh are the 2 worst teams in this division. Peterhead Spartans 50-26-24. 4 without a win now for Peterhead, and they've only scored 2 goals in those 4 games, and well, that was in 1 game, so they've drawn a blank in 3 of them. They did ought to be up to winning this. I mean, Spartans are 5 or 6 without a win, aren't they? I do know that, and they lost one of their best players, didn't they, to Airdrie in the summer. I forget his name, and I think that's left a massive hole. They've not won a game on the road. They've drawn 3 and lost 2. I would imagine Peterhead would win. I wouldn't want to take odds on. There is only one bet in Scottish League 2, and that's Clyde to beat Bonnyrigg, and it is an absolute awful coupon north of the border. Nothing we can do about it. It's how it is. You just got to bear with it. Let's have a look at England, see if that's any better. Right, 4th at home to 1st. This looks a cracking game, doesn't it? It probably won't be in that case, but it's like there was a game the other night. Oh God, was it Rotherham Wrexham? I'm sure it was Rotherham Wrexham. Just bear with me a second. It was Wrexham Huddersfield. Sorry, I apologise. Wrexham Huddersfield. They put a game on, and I thought, oh, why don't you put Huddersfield Wrexham on? Because I thought that would be better, and it ended up being 0-0. So, just proves, was wrong how wrong I was. But Mansfield best win against 8th place Barnsley. Other than that, every other win's been against teams 16th or below. Can only see one winner here, I have to say. I mean, the hope you'd say Mansfield, Birmingham were turned over at Charlton, but they've won 9 of the other 11 games, haven't they? I mean, I said at the start of the season, it's over. Let's be realistic about this. Nobody's going to catch Birmingham City. As I say, the rate, we've got them on the same rating as Watford, and go and see where Watford are in the Championship. They're 5th or something. This team of Birmingham's now would be challenging for the playoffs in the Championship this season. Make no mistake about that. So when they win this league and go up and they invest again, they'll be back in the Premiership in 2 or 3 seasons. New ground, there's money. I think a sleeping giant is really, really about to wake. I think I've said it time and time again. Everybody is playing for 2nd place in this division. Don't care what, whether you want to send me abuse or tell me I'm speaking at my backside. No, every team is playing for 2nd. Birmingham are going to lag up. I don't see any other result. It's 0.17 in Mansfield. I mean, if Mansfield were to win, they'd be 2 points behind Birmingham, but I just don't see it. I hope I'm wrong, because we're not on Birmingham, are we? We're on. We ended up in Huddersfield, Rotherham, but I did say, didn't I, about Birmingham? But Reading Bristol Rovers 58-23-19. 5 from 6 at home. Reading ought to win this tomorrow, if I'm honest. Rovers done us a favour last time out beating Shrewsbury, but that was, I think, pretty poor to only beat Shrewsbury 1-0. Reading are in the top half on the road. Bristol Rovers played 4, lost 4, shipped 10 goals. You'd imagine Reading would win this 2-0, 3-0, 3-1, something like that. 0.08 at 58% on what is an awful week. You might have to take it. Bolton at home to Peterborough, 45-25-30. Two clubs who've lost my trust. Bolton's best win was 5-2 at home to Reading in 7th place. Other than that, they've only beaten 19th place Northampton and teams below that. I'd remain totally unconvinced with Bolton. Peterborough gave Blackpool a right hiding the other night, 5-1. Now, you can see what we make them. We make them 23-10. They're 18-5. There's almost a point and a half in Peterborough. They've won at Exeter. They've lost at Wickham. They only went down at Birmingham by the odd goal as well. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, Bolton went down 2-0 at Birmingham, so I don't think there's much between these. If you're taking that, you're crazy. That's all I can say. I should be back in Peterborough. There's a 1.3 points in, and the case can be made. Cambridge Burton 48-24-28, 11-10 Cambridge, not for me. They've won the last two, both to nil. 2-0 against Wigan, 2-0 against Stevenage. Burton are the worst team in the division. They're bottom of the table. Without a win, I mean, what have they? They lost 7 in a row, 6 or 7 in a row, haven't they? And I think Burton are going to drop this season, and I think Cambridge should win. But I'm sorry, I just couldn't trust Cambridge United at even money. Charlton Wrexham 40-24-36. Don't know what to make of Charlton. Got a 3-2-1 home record. They beat Birmingham but lost to Blackpool. Drew with Rotherham and Stockport. Beat Bolton. They're decent sides which I'm reading off. So the road form's poor. They should be up to winning this tomorrow. Wrexham on the road I don't like. 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. They've been done at Stevenage, Birmingham, drew with Bolton and Orient, won away at Peterborough and Rotherham. But they've only won one of the last 4 on the road. I'm not so sure they'll win this tomorrow. Charlton are favourites, rightly so. There's a bit of value in Wrexham, but not for me. Huddersfield Exeter 60-26-14. I thought this was really short about Huddersfield, I have to say. They've had a bad run, haven't they? They have sort of turned it round a bit, but at home they're pretty good. Won 4 from 6 at home. Lost to Blackpool and Northampton. Blackpool, possibly you can forgive. Northampton, I can't. But the fact they've done the likes of Barnsley here, one at Peterborough, one at Bolton 4-0. For me, I still think they're the second best side in the division. Exeter are 6th. Now, I mean, you have to, if you're going to take that literally, again, you're foolish. And people might say, if they're 6th, how come you've only given them a 14% chance? Quite simply because Exeter's best win has been against 13th place Stevenage. They've only beaten teams 13th and below. They've played 2 games against teams in the top half, at home to Reading and at home to Peterborough. They've lost them both. They're a mid-table club and they're in 6th. They're in a false position. Huddersfield ought to slice them tomorrow. Lincoln Stockport 37-25-38. You know, Lincoln really, really disappointing. One up against Birmingham. We backed them last week against Birmingham. They were 9-2 or something. 1 up, weren't they? And then they ended up losing 3-1. And then what do? They back it up the 3-0 defeat at Crawley Town. Wow. I don't like teams like that. When a team loses a game, I like to see a bounce back. And when they go and fold against somebody who's way down there, I don't like to see that. And for me, Lincoln, I want to see something better now before I start backing them again. Stockport are above them, 1 place above them. They're unbeaten on the road, Stockport. But their best win has been against 15th place Bristol Rovers. They've only lost once, and that was at home to Orient. So And they've drawn at Mansfield, Barnsley, Charlton, one away at Blackpool. We can't really knock them too much, but there's nothing in them for a bet. Northampton, Crawley, 48, 26, 26. Northampton 19th, Crawley 21st. Northampton have won 2 at home against Exeter and Leyton Orient. There you go. So you see what I'm saying about Exeter. They're sick. They're in a false position. Crawley 10 points on the board. I mean, they'd lost 6 in a row, and then they go and beat Lincoln 3-0. Doesn't make any sense, does it? And that's what I say. Midweek was absolute carnage. I think Northampton should win. Not for me. Rotherham against Stevenage. Rotherham, just when you think Rotherham are starting to get somewhere, the wheels come off a bit, and I'm completely out of trust with them now. The defeat at home to Wrexham, yes, you can forgive that, but the defeat at Orient, no, they shouldn't be losing against Leyton Orient. Rotherham, they just come down from the Championship, but they're still on 14 points, only 5 points off 5th place Huddersfield. But for me, I've reassessed them, and my trust has gone. Shrewsbury, Barnsley, 23, 25, 52. There's 0.19 in Barnsley. Been quite impressed with Barnsley on the road. 1-4, lost 2. The losses have came at Huddersfield and Stevenage, but they've won at Lincoln, Blackpool. They're up to winning this tomorrow. I thought they should be odds on for this, 10 to 11. They're 11 to 10. There's 0.19 in them. Shrewsbury, 3rd from bottom, just a 1 win at home. That was against Orient. Barnsley at 8th. Home and away against the top, at home to the top half, played 4, lost 4, scored 1 goal, shipped 9. If you add in the away form as well, it's played 7, lost 7, shipped 15. Can only see 1 winner here. Barnsley should be odds on. Wickham against Orient, 55, 25, 20. Again, Wickham was a team I reassessed. And I reassessed them after the Peterborough game because I was concerned that there was a pattern emerging. They were only beating the bottom teams, but Peterborough were 12th. That's their best win. They've only lost 2 games all season. At home to Birmingham 3-2 and away at Wrexham 3-2. So that tells you straight away they're a tough side to beat, Wickham. Orient to 20th. Wickham are 3rd. They should win this tomorrow. And finally, we got Blackpool Wigan. Is that Monday? I think it might be Monday. Blackpool against Wigan. I'm sure that's Monday. Blackpool, Steve Bruce effects worn off. They've lost the last 3. They're 4 without a win now. I told you at the time it's a wrong appointment, and I still believe it's going to be the case. He's gone in there, new voice, fresh ideas. I think he's probably now starting to fall on deaf ears. And Steve Bruce will revert to type by sending them out. Don't get beat, lads. Make sure we don't get beat, lads. So that's what it's going to be from now on. Wigan 18th. Did you see the amount of shots they had the other night? Just can't find the net. Someone's going to get a shellacking off them, though. I'm telling you now. Somebody will at one stage, but they've lost the last 2. I'm out of love with Wigan. They're capable of winning this, as Blackpool are, but I wouldn't trust either of these 2. If you're taking that, you're silly. If I was going to have a bet, I would have a bit on Wigan purely because of the price. But how can you back a team odds on that's lost their last 3 and 3 of the last 4? And it's not like you can say, oh well, they've had a real tough run of fixtures and they've had this and that, because that's not been the case at all. They've not been at Birmingham every week and Wrexham. Sorry. Colchester, Salford, 42, 26, 32. All I keep hearing is, oh, we're better than that, we're better than that. That's what I keep hearing from the Colchester men. Cowley will work his magic. Really? 1 win in the last 10 against Tranmere. No. You want to back Colchester now? 5-4 for a team that's won once in the last 10 games. Not a chance. Salford have won 2 of the last 4. Only defeat was at home to Grimsby. Starting to tick a little bit under Carl Robinson. I said they would, and I did say he's a superb manager at this level. They've got to start winning on the road. No winning 5, drawn 4, lost 1. They've only lost 1 on the road. You can see this being a draw tomorrow as well, can't you? Morecambe Chesterfield 20-25-55. Chesterfield, I watched Chesterfield a couple of times, and do you know what? I can see up to a point why bookmakers are always short on them, but if we look, 13 games they've played, they've won 4, lost 2, 7 draws. You cannot draw that many games and expect to go up. You've got to turn some of those into victories. They've only lost 2. 1-0 at Port Vale, 1-0 at Gillingham. It's not like it's, you know, that's the only games they've lost, but they have to start winning more. I mean, look at their record against teams 15th and below, home and away. Played 5, drawn 5. You can't do that. You've got to be winning. You've got to be beating those sides. You really have. I mean, they're away at Morecambe tomorrow. Morecambe are bottom. There's 0-3-3 at home. I mean, Chesterfield surely have to win this tomorrow. There's 0.11 in them if you fancy it. Accrington against Walsall, 26-24-50. Beat Barrow, won at Gillingham, beat Morecambe. Accrington had a nice little win, didn't they? Did they lose to the other night? Was it? I forget who they lost to. They only went down by the odd goal. Oh, God. I think it was MK. It was Milton Keynes, wasn't it? Yeah, it was MK Dons, 2-1. That's decent form. Walsall are second. We're on Walsall on the outright, so I'm quite happy where they are. And do you know, when I was looking at the form a few weeks ago, I was thinking, oh yeah, they're only beating bottom sides. But seeing they've turned over Bradford 2-1, won 4-1 at Grimsby, drew 2-2 at Chesterfield. I think it's pretty decent form. I really do. It's hopefully they can keep that up, because they were a massive price we backed them at. I did think they'd be in and around the top 6. I didn't expect them to be mounting a title challenge come end of October, but it does seem to be the case. I think they should win tomorrow. 0.05, whether you think it's enough. Bradford Doncaster 38-26-36. 5th at home to 4th. Bradford turned a corner a bit, won 3 of the last 5. The other 2 have been draws. My only concern, every victory has been against teams 11th and below. Teams 7th and above, they've lost both games, but to their credit, they have been on the road. Doncaster are 4th. Doncaster lost at home to Bromley the other night, and we were on them. Absolutely. How do you lose at home to Bromley? When yet you can win at Port Vale, who are top. You can beat Barrow, Gillingham, yet you lose at home to Bromley. I've got zero trust in Doncaster Rovers. I think Bradford should win, and hopefully Bradford do win. Bromley Barrow 34-24-42. 0.52 in Barrow at 42%. I think it's probably okay. My problem is that it's, you know, Bromley have added to that figure. That figure's not just come from the Barrow end. They've lost 4 of the last 6. Their only recent win was a 2-1 win at home to Cheltenham. They won at Grimsby on the road and Harrogate, both by the odd goal. I think the game, Barrow did ought to be better than Bromley, but Bromley won at Doncaster the other night, so it's just hard to say, isn't it? Carlisle Cheltenham 41-26-33. I don't know how you can have a team in at 21-20 that's won 2 games from 13 and has lost 4 of the last 6. I did say I do still think they're not. Well, I do still think they're in a bit of a false position. Second, I don't think they're second from bottom. Because if you look at their form against, say, like the bottom third, drew with Harrogate, drew with Colchester, beat Swindon, lost to Tranmere, that's a 1-2-1 record. Were you to keep that up against, say, I don't know, the bottom 6 or 7 or 8 clubs, you would probably stay up. So, and they have beaten Barrow away as well. And out of the top 12, they've played 5 of those on the road, Carlisle. So you can sympathise up to a point. And this, like I was speaking to somebody earlier today about Wolves when he was going on about them and the manager. They've had an absolutely horrendous start in the Premiership, Wolves. So teams get into these sort of positions and you can't help it. But I think that is absolutely ludicrous. I really do. Cheltenham is 17th. You know, they held Bradford last time and they won at Colchester last Saturday. Didn't think that was the worst form in the world, if you like. Carlisle ought to win. I didn't think they were good things. If I had to bet, I would bet Cheltenham because it's 0.75 in it. I think, you know, 11-4, about 2-1. Crewe Tranmere 50-24-26. Crewe are 6th. But going along nicely. Got a 3-2-1 home record. But you know they've got us 5-0 stuffing at home by Chesterfield, didn't they? But Tranmere are no Chesterfield. I don't think they're 18th. They've got a 2-2-2 away record. Both wins have been against 19th place and 23rd place. Crewe are 6th. Crewe ought to win this. There's 0.37. We think they should be evens. And I just noticed there's 0.02 in those. I didn't pick that up. We'll come to that in a second. Right, Grimsby MK Dons 24-26-50. Lindsay is getting a decent tune. Scott Lindsay's getting a decent tune out of MK. 9 points off the top after 13 games. I don't think that's anything to worry about. I still think they could be banging the mix come the end of the season. Grimsby is 7th, got a 3-0-3 home record. They got a 4-1 doing here by Walsall, a 3-0 doing here by Doncaster, 2-1 by Barrow. I think they're more suited to playing teams lower down the league at home, and I know MK are 12th, but MK aren't a 12th place side. They're one of the best 4 clubs in this division. Don't worry about that. They ought to be beating Grimsby tomorrow. Newport Fleetwood 30-26-44. Hard game to assess this. Fleetwood, they went on that run, didn't they? But they've lost 2, and they're 3 without a win now. Don't know what to make of them. Newport, funny side. They've played 13, won 6, lost 7 at home. They've won 4, lost 2. They've lost to Chesterfield and Port Vale here. Fleetwood aren't a Chesterfield or a Port Vale, I can tell you that. That's quite a big price, isn't it? There's not enough in it at the rating for us, but... Notts County Harrogate 58-23-19. You know my thoughts on Notts County. Flat track bullies. Harrogate are 16th. Notts County, that's right up Notts County Street, isn't it? They're 3rd. Notts County will win this and win it well, I would have thought. But the minute they come up, I mean, look, they're 3rd in the table. They've played 7 on the road, but their best wins against 19th place Bromley. Don't fall for it. Notts County are flat track bullies, promise you. And finally, Port Vale against Wimbledon, 50-25-25. Both going along nicely. Wimbledon 1-1-3 on the road. They've only beaten Cheltenham on the road. They got turned over at Salford and Bromley, and if you're going to get turned over at Salford and Bromley, you are going to struggle to beat Port Vale, who are flying. There's 0.2 in Port Vale. Swindon, Gillingham, 44-24-32. I wouldn't touch either of these. Gillingham, I mean, I just don't know. Going along so well. They had a 6-1-1 record, okay? And now they've lost the last 5. Incredible. And it's not like they've been losing to teams, all the big boys. They've lost at home to Grimsby, at home to Accrington, at home to Newport. You can't lose at home to teams like that and maintain a title challenge. Something's gone wrong there majorly. Again, same as last season. maybe you need to bring into question the mentality of the club and the players, because I blame Stephen Clements for it last season. But there comes a point when you've got to start looking at the players, and maybe that's the case with Gillingham. But either way, I will be sitting this out. Right, finally, weekly double. Started off well, didn't we? 4 in a row, lost the last twice. Still up 1.77 on 6 points. What's that? Probably late 20%, isn't it? So still okay. Treble 0.51 down. So hard to get trebles, as you can see. It really, really is. If you think we've got 4 from 6, which is 67%, and 2 from 6, which is 33%. So you can see, even on just, I know it's only a short sample, but roughly twice as hard, isn't it, to get a treble than it is a double. People don't think that. They think it's only one more team, but that one more team makes such a difference. They got turned over. They drew last week. Shocker, wasn't it, really? Right, going to Scotland for the double. Aberdeen and Falkirk. And in the treble, Aberdeen, Falkirk and Huddersfield. So you get 1.45 to 1 with Hills, which is just a shade under 6 to 4. And 3.16 to 1 with Hills, which is just a tad over 3 to 1. So that would certainly be a welcome win if we can land that one. That's it. Back next time. Good luck. Bye for now.